Hey, I am so glad that you are here today. So thank you so much for taking the time to just even work on yourself and to think about today's topic. Today's topic is again around forgiveness, and I use it a lot for business because we all got stuff. We all got stuff we got to get through. So it is a way. I have a process that I use a lot. It's not my own. I've kind of condensed it. The book that it is by Mary Hayes Grieco. She lives here in the city, so she's also someone that I know personally, and I love her work on forgiveness. She's worked with doctors, she's worked with one-on-one. I've worked with some of the people that she's trained to do my own forgiveness work. And I'll tell you what I love about forgiveness work is it is like the fastest way to kind of clear stuff out. So her process, um, she gave me a piece of wisdom that was so fabulous. And I use it a lot, which is like you can only really cry super hard for about 20 minutes. And I thought, oh, okay, well, I got 20 minutes to maybe clear my junk. And what I like about her process is it allows you, again, right? Whenever we look at forgiveness, it's a lot of times around trauma. I've done other stuff on trauma, but it's a way to discharge it. And I had to discharge a bunch of it. And I'll tell you some of my stories around that, but it really helps you get to this final step of, right, and how am I going to heal? And when I think about how can we support ourselves? Sometimes the only time I have is when I'm driving from point A to point B. So it is something that you can do alone. It's something you can do in the car. I wrote down the top 6 steps for myself. But again, Mary Hayes Greco wrote this. This is her content and her ideas, and this is the inspiration. It's just helped me a lot. And her book, I think, is called Forgiveness. So if you know the book title, you can put it right down there in the comment section, or maybe I will do that for you. But the point is that you've got to kind of come through the steps. So if you're writing stuff down, it's 6 steps. So write down 1 through 6. And the first one is that really it's learning to speak your truth. What is my truth? And so uh, it well, I'll give you an example after I give you the 6 steps. So the first step is, what is my truth? The second step is, and why that's not okay. That's not okay. And number 3 is to really speak out. And you're just speaking this out. Number 3 is how it impacted me negatively. Number 4, and you really go, and that stops today. Number 4 is where you really say, and that stops today. And number 5 is what I wanted was. And then number 6 is the critical part. Do not miss. Lots of people stop at number 3, right? That stops today. What I really wanted was this. And number 6 is how I'm going to heal. So I'll give you an example. There are a lot of pieces. I have not had an easy life. And you may not have had an easy life either. So one of the things that I had to really discharge was kind of how much trauma I had and how much of I had to forgive for myself, how much I had to forgive for the situation, but I needed to discharge those. And that system allows you to do that. So when you are thinking about how do you do that, this is your tool, right? So when you are thinking about what is my truth, I'll give you an example from my life, right? It was randomly that my son had moved out too early, and I was feeling really upset about it. He hadn't finished high school, and there's this whole big thing, and I was just feeling so much anxiety, and and all of the things I was worried about were happening because we can't control other people. And so I had to really go, and this is my truth, right? And then I had to say all the things that were my truth. And sometimes as I was saying them, oh my gosh, it was the first time I heard them, but I had to heard them. And then I had to go through why it's not okay. And I had to go through all of the reasons that I was super not okay with that situation. And then number 3, right? How it's negatively impacting me. It was making me worry. I was anxious. I felt out of control. I had just all of this grief because I wasn't ready to be done parenting, and I really just didn't trust his ability to parent himself, which was true, by the way. Like, so if my son is watching this, it was true. It was true. It was true. Um, but it was negatively, it was impacting me negatively, but it was also negatively impacting, everything in my life. And I had to just go, okay, number 4, that stops today. That stops today. We're going to stop this foolishness, because what I wanted was more. I wanted more time to parent. I wanted more time to have a little cozy little family, and I wanted some other stuff. And then and I was worried that he wasn't going to finish high school. I was worried that he was, going to end up in jail, or, hanging with the wrong crowd. There was so many. My list was immense. Because right, I I I was having lots of stress over it, and then I went, and here's how I'm going to heal. And randomly came this item, which really sent me on a whole world of stuff around forgiveness. Was that I wanted him to graduate from high school. I wanted to see him with a diploma in his hand, and I wanted that picture for myself. That I realized that if I wasn't going to get prom, if I wasn't going to get all of those other things, that I wanted a photograph of him in a suit. I didn't know I needed that. I didn't know I needed that. But what ended up happening is I could just pick up the phone and go, hey, I'm doing some forgiveness work. What I found out of what I need from you are these 3 things. Um, can you make that happen for your mom? And he was like, for sure. Okay. Um, and it just discharged, what was kind of an hour of revelation for me. And so I do this a lot, and this process, I do it a lot in every single facet of my life, to go, what is my truth? What is my truth? For those of you who perhaps do emotional freedom technique, that's kind of what you're doing, even though, right? That even though tapping. But forgiveness is, it's a process. And what ends up happening for me, and I put it, I'll reach out, I put it on a 3x5 card. I keep it around me, and I really look at it as a regular habit to go, what is my truth and what do I need to discharge? And what I realize is that that balloon keeps growing, especially if you're a high performer or you have a lot of things that you are doing. It's really easy to skip the forgiveness work or defer it to later and not actually speak your truth, because you kind of want to avoid it. I want to avoid it. And I also realized that I had a lot of forgiveness work to do. So I would start doing it on a regular basis. And that is what I like about having a process for yourself, is that you can do it regularly. That you can go, yeah, I'm going to just morning meditation. Maybe I'm just going to forgive some stuff out of my past. And so I literally kind of made a list of stuff. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, the amount of better I felt, it was fabulous. It was fabulous. Like weeping fabulous. And I've taken a lot of people through this process, in private consulting, in business. It's fast. It's just fast. And what I like about it for me is that I wanted to be able to tangle with things that were very personal and very um, gnarly alone first. And then I would take it to therapy, or I would take it to someone else, or I would take it to something else. But it was a way for me to really get into what is my truth. What is the truth that I have? And the truth that I have is sometimes I really worry more than I should. Sometimes I'm carrying a load that's so big because I have a huge capacity. I have a capacity to do great things and be with lots of big things in general. So it's easy for me to hold more than I need to. And that part was also a learned behavior for me, because that's just how, that's the role I took on as an intuitive in my family, is that I would just hold energy. I don't know. That was dumb. But that's just the way it was for me. And so when you're walking through your truth, when you're walking through why it's not okay and how it's negatively impacting you, and then really putting that line in the sand, that's going to stop today. That's going to stop today. And that step of number 4 is where this world changes around, right? Number 4, that stops today. What I wanted was this. And then and that right there, that what I wanted, that liberation of going, wow, I really wanted this to be different. And then to really talk about how I was going to heal. And what I like about this is that I also do it with contracts, perhaps clients that I'm losing, or contracts that I'm losing, or parts of my life that are ending, that I wasn't ready to have end, deaths in the family, that there's a million things that I went, I wish that would have gone differently. And being, there's so many points in our lives that we have to just keep going. I'm a mom. I have lots of, I have stepchildren. I have real children. I have close family. I have lots of things. I have a business. There's so many ways that all of us can tuck our trauma or our grief away and not do it. And I was the expert at tucking my grief and just keeping going forward or focusing in on other people's problems. Or it was so much easier to solve theirs and just ignore mine. Um, mm, mm, right? Right? I can focus on your stuff and then I don't have to look at my stuff. But it's actually, once I learned that it was super easy to just focus on processing my stuff a little bit every day, it changed everything. It made me softer. It made my shoulders come down because like I'm always out about here in crunch, but I could go, oh, I could just be here with you. And it made my life a lot more fun. So again, I'm just going to give you those 6, right? What is my truth? Number 2, why it's not okay. Number 3, how it impacted me negatively. Number 4, that stops today. What I wanted was, and number 6 is the critical item. Do not skip it. Of number 5 is what I wanted was, but number 6 is this is how I'm going to heal. And that part will shockaroo. It'll be a shock. It'll be a shock. I'm always stunned with how fast my brain will come up with what it wanted. So that's my time with you today. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for going on your own journey. You make the life, you make your life better, but you make everyone around your life better. And that is powerful. And I thank you for investing in that because it is an investment. So keep doing the good stuff. All right. Bye.